Well, we're always going to encounter conflict with our family, our friends, our coworkers, our kids. It's just inevitable. Best-selling author and motivational speaker Rory Vaden says he can help you work toward great relationships, not from the absence of conflict, but from learning how to resolve it. Wow. That's a tough order, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I just think it doesn't mean we can't have conflict. It just means if we have an established set of rules that we agree to, move through conflict, then all will be good.
Yeah. So we've got to learn to fight fair. You say the first rule is don't yell.
Don't yell. Do not yell. Emotion and name calling is never welcome to a conflict resolution party. It just clouds your judgment, and it adds a whole level of emotion to the argument that doesn't really need to be there.
Even if the other person's yelling?
Yeah, especially if the other person is yelling. Just kind of try to bring it down.
Okay. All right. One thing that I think so many of us tend to do is we say, you always, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You speak in generalities. Why is that a bad thing to do?
You can't do that because it's impossible for us to own up to that, you always do this or you never do that. And it's so frustrating because you just start extrapolating it. And it's like, I can't own up to that. Give me something specific, a specific instance, make sure it was recent, and I can acknowledge that.
Yeah. There's a good chance in most arguments that both of us are wrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the keys to conflict resolution is just be open to the idea that even if you're sure you didn't make a mistake, be open to the idea that you did, because most people, they rarely make stuff up. So it might have been a miscommunication, but be open to the idea that you had a part too.
Yeah, because we always do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, apologizing is something that feels so hard when you feel like you've been wronged.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the idea of apologizing just is counterintuitive because there's something so vindicating about the idea that I'm going to hold strong until they apologize. But one of the great habits is to work to learn to apologize first. Apologize for your part of it, and I think you'll find your way to resolution much faster.
Yeah. So many arguments that we get into with people that we care about end up trying to find a resolution of I'm right or you're right. Mm-hmm. Who's right? Mm-hmm. But you say that's wrong.
That is wrong. Don't focus so much on trying to find who is right. Focus on trying to find what is right. It's almost like you should take yourself out of it and pretend that you're refereeing somebody else's game, and let the principle rise to the top so that you can agree on principles, and it doesn't have to be about personalities or I'm right and you're wrong, or you win and I lose.
Yeah. Why is this so important?
I think one of the things to realize is that if somebody's fighting with you, whether it's at work or in a marriage or your kids, the thing to realize and recognize is it's because they care. If they didn't care, they wouldn't expend the time or the energy. So just remind yourself that if somebody is passionate about something, it's because they really care about what is happening, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. If you're really invested in a relationship, you need to realize that fighting is not the best way to resolve things.
Yeah, no, it's not. But trying to have a relationship that is void of conflict it's an impossible standard. Mm-hmm. But instead, embracing the idea that we can have conflict, but we have a set of rules, this pattern of engagement by which we deal with those issues. That's a real relationship.
Yeah. How do you get the other person to buy into those rules? Do you need to really discuss them at a neutral time?
Well, I think the number one thing is to model it right. So if we have a disagreement, the moment I start yelling or I say you're wrong, or anytime I'm doing that, it sort of sets the stage for an all-out war. So the best thing is to model it. But yeah, absolutely, if you can agree in advance to say, hey, these are some of the rules we're going to use to govern this conversation, I think you're going to find a lot more progress a lot sooner.
Yeah, and finally end that conflict.
And end the conflict.
Yeah, and you don't always have to agree at the end.
No, you can agree to disagree, but you do it professionally, you do it mindfully, you do it respectfully, and then everybody wins, at least on some level.
Some really good advice, Rory. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So happy for your success. You're doing so well. For more information about his best-selling book called Take the Stairs, we're going to link you to roryvaden.com.